It's wonderful to have a chat to Jeff Brayley, social researcher at station sponsor McCrindle. They bring data to life, and you do that for leaders in business, in organisations, churches, community groups. Jeff, what is the data that leaders should be looking at as they look into the future?
Leaders should be using multifactorial data. It's all about variety and lots of different data sets. We want to help leaders become really powerful at impacting and shaping a positive future. And so futuristic thinking is what we want to encourage people towards. You also need to be thinking generationally, understanding how society is changing, and also be practical, not just theoretical. Leaders should have a vision for the future and a plan for today.
Now, generations are working side by side so much more. Do you have any data around that?
Absolutely. A whole report, and there's a great infographic on the generations at work right now. 4 generations in Australia, from Gen Zs aged 16 to 30, who are motivated and looking for accessible and approachable leadership, all the way up to baby boomers that are looking for proximity when looking for new work. They want something close to home. And so we've got a great infographic there available for leaders to engage and motivate their teams effectively.
Jeff, I've seen this treasure trove. It really is. You're giving full access for 7 days. So how can people actually get access to this?
You can get the 50-plus infographics, 40-plus reports, courses, all on McCrindle.com. Search McCrindle Plus and you'll find that 7-day free trial. And we hope it empowers a positive future for all of society.
Jeff, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Station sponsor McCrindle, and you can get all that at McCrindle.com. I don't know how many of us have sat around and chosen the arch window or the circle window or whatever it might be on Play School. I was always the arch window guy. Come on, it's got to get through the arch window. It's such an upbringing as such a natural part of so many Australians' life, watching Play School. And one man who has been on there for a long time, I think, officially we could call him a Play School legend, is John Spencer. And we're hearing his story today on Towards Understanding. Don, thank you so much for taking the time.
How are you, Clayton?
I'm very good, thank you. Great to have a chat to you as well. How long have you actually been on Play School?
Golly, I recorded it for about 26 years, I think.
Oh, that's incredible.
In Australia, and then I did the English Play School as well for about 17 years, at the same time, of course. I'm not 106 yet.
How hard is it to actually do it? Because, I reckon probably most of us just have it on and just think, oh, yeah, there we go, the kids are watching it. It's just a couple of adults, putting some craft together or singing a song or whatever else it might be.
Yeah.
But presumably there's, a fair bit of practice and a lot of effort that has to go in.
It's a funny sort of a program, Clayton, because it looks simple, and to be honest, if you can do it in the right way, it is rather simple. But it's amazing how difficult that some people find it to do, because you are straight down the barrel and you're talking directly to a child, and you have to remember that. So it's not like actors. A lot of actors find it difficult to do that because they're used to acting and the camera follows them. But in this one, you actually have to look at the camera 90% of the time because you've got to engage that child at the other end. And of course, so there's 4 or 5 cameras at different times that you've got to make sure, even though it looks all casual and everything, it's very choreographed, and you have to make sure that as you casually put something down, you put it where camera 4 is, and it's a lot more complicated than it looks. But the idea is to make it look like we're making it up as we go, and it's casual and it's got the nice easy pace that you can connect with a child. So it's sort of easy, but it's sort of difficult, if you can put it that way.
I reckon, all that you've done, and including you've got some new DVDs out at the moment as well, especially for kids too. Obviously, there's a real heart for kids in terms of kids' music, and we're going to talk a bit more about your foundation later on as well.
Yeah.
But back with the Play School side of things, we talked to Colin Buchanan a little while ago about the fact that, his time on Play School and some of the reactions that he gets when he's actually out and about places from kids. I think one point, he heard stories of kids who were so worried about him because he had a broken arm one time when he appeared on Play School, and then about a year later they replayed it, and all these kids thought he'd broken his arm again. They didn't realise it was a replay. Have you had funny reactions from kids as you've met them?
Oh yes, I've had lots of funny reactions, but always beautiful, I have to say. It's just amazing because they get to know you so well that they really do know you. So I can be in a supermarket and all of a sudden they got kids wrap themselves around my leg and they're saying, And then they're so excited, and the mother wonders where the kids run off to, and they know you, and it's just lovely. So, and having been doing it for so long, and the other children's music that I do that isn't connected in all the concerts I've done, I've had a couple of different generations coming through now where mothers have had their children doing it.
Yeah.
So it's always lovely, and on the other side of the coin, it's very handy. I've been pulled over once or twice for possibly going a little too fast, and cops recognized me and said, "Oh, mate, you're the guy from Play School. Off you go." So I've got away with something.
Oh, I tell you what, now you wouldn't normally have thought that'd be what you'd get away with, but why not?
No, I honestly don't speed anymore.
No, that's good. Very good indeed. Hey, let's talk about how you even got into the entertainment field in the first place. Was it something that you always desired to be involved in? Was it something that, how did it happen?
Total accident, mate. I grew up in a country town in New South Wales, and I was into sport, and I, obviously the school stuff. And when I left school, I was studying doing accountancy, and I really hated it. So I always wanted to travel, so I just packed up and went overseas. Let's say I did 3 jobs to save the money. Way back then, I couldn't fly; I had to go on a ship, and it was in the course of my travels. I ran into a guy. I found myself in Africa. A year or two later, I was going overland through to Africa, and I ran out of money in Nairobi. And while I was there working for a year, I ran into a guy who was a singer-songwriter, and I loved what he did. He was singing in a coffee bar, and then I wrote some words, and he put them to music, and suddenly Little Germ was there, and I went, "This is good." So I got myself a guitar and taught myself a guitar, and then got lucky. I sold some songs, and that guy, if anybody remembers, there's a guy called Roger Whittaker who went on to great success and fame in England. He was Kenyan born, and he had a couple of massive worldwide hits called "The Last Farewell" and things, but some years ago. But wonderful guy. But he was the one who triggered it, and so then I got lucky, got into it, and even then I only wanted to be a songwriter. I wasn't ever thinking about being a singer. And then they got me to demonstrate my songs. And, suddenly I was a singer-songwriter. So.
Remarkable. Incredible stuff. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that part of that story when you were actually over in Africa was you had a bit of a love for hockey and were training with a fairly reasonable hockey team over there. Is that correct?
I actually was in the Kenya Olympic hockey team, yeah.
Wow.
I played... we're bragging now, but I played rep hockey in Australia before I left when I was 17 or 18. I was in the state team, and we won the Australian Championship. So when I got to Kenya, I'd already been playing a lot, so I just naturally played hockey and rugby when I was there, and got picked in the Kenya Olympic team. But unfortunately, once they realised I was an Australian, I didn't have any residential qualifications. I couldn't actually go to the Olympics, but I did get to play for them. I played against India, and who were the world champions at the time. So I played a few test matches for them, but never actually went to the Olympics, unfortunately. It would have been nice.
Oh, would it ever? I suppose it's this one whole section of your life, though, that is so unique. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone sort of having a story anywhere close to that of yours, travelling and playing hockey for a different team, and then ended up in music, and then that's the career for the rest of your life. It really is a unique set of circumstances. Yeah,
life is all about timing and circumstances, isn't it? It's really weird how those things develop. Because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I wasn't going to go back to office work and stuff like that. So, and I wasn't actually searching. I was just, luckily at that age, I was just traveling. And it wasn't the days before we had anything. I didn't have communication with anyone because I was on my own, and we didn't have telephones and mobiles in those days, and no credit cards. I didn't have any money. So I just, wherever I ran out of money, I got a job, luckily. So it turned out that I luckily ran out of money in Nairobi, and it was a bit of a catalyst for a few different things in my life.
Remarkable stuff indeed. Yeah. Let's talk about something that is a huge, huge passion of yours, the Australian Children's Music Foundation.
Yes.
For somebody who perhaps doesn't know what that is, can you give us sort of the 30-second snapshot of what it is, and then we'll talk a bit more about some of the specifics?
Well, the whole point is that we use the power of music to inspire and enrich the lives of kids, which particularly the disadvantaged and Indigenous kids who have lost their way a bit, kids who are emotionally or have been emotionally or physically abused. We work in detention centers and very tough areas, and we use music as a way to connect with them and get them to express themselves and give them a lot of fun as well. But we provide instruments and teachers, and we go in for long term. We go in, don't go anywhere unless we've got enough money for a year. And we, once the kids get involved, they start feeling good about themselves because they find they can sing or write a song or play an instrument. We make little bands and choirs, and we've had some wonderful results. We've got some amazing results of how we've connected with kids and got them back to school. And one of the areas up in the Northern Territory, for instance, our Indigenous school there, we've got a 96% attendance rate.
Wow.
That's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because the music, they love the music and go to music, then they learn other things as well. And the music, of course, is also great for literacy and numeracy. It's a great way to help that process. So music's good for discipline, it's good for cooperation, interaction. It's just an amazing thing, not to mention, of course, imagination and creativity. And if you're in a bad situation in life, you need an imagination to realize that this may not be the only life that's available to you. So we use music as a springboard to hope.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You sort of touched on it there too, that you don't go into an area, juvenile detention centre, for example, unless you know you have the funds for a year to do that. Now, that's a big vision, that's a big commitment as well. Where did it start from for you originally? Was there one person that kicked it off for you, or was it just something you just realised was needed in the community as a whole?
It started because I know that even though I wasn't trained in any way in music, I know that as a child, music was my solace. Had a reasonably tough childhood, not like we're talking about, but I had a mother who had to bring up 3 kids on her own. She was divorced, but the same story. So music was a great solace when things were going tough, and I always knew the way it connected with kids. I've always done a lot of concerts with kids who are unwell and kids in special needs and kids with various afflictions, and music is just this incredible spark. So I'd been thinking for about 10 years when I was doing lots of concerts and recordings that I should try to use music, in a broader spectrum, to see if we can make it work to help kids raise their imagination, look at the world through different eyes, and just think outside what they used to realize there's something else out there. And so I started in a very minor way in a detention center for a girls' detention center, Indigenous mainly, and it was amazing how they reacted, how they could express themselves at last. They could try and write a song, and we'd help them, and it's grown from there. We're in all the detentions. There's only 3 detention centres that we're not in. That's only because we don't have the money for those 3. But we're in schools all over Australia and communities, and we do a big drug and alcohol rehabilitation program for youths who have lost their way, and we use music to help them find their way back. And it's amazing. We get them singing, writing, and we've had some wonderful songs written, and it's amazing. We've had kids get scholarships to Spain to study guitar, and school captains and vice captains out of our music programs who were previously in gangs and everything. So
share your brand, your event, your message across 90 Christian radio stations and major cities in Australia and New Zealand by sponsoring Towards Understanding, hosted by Clayton Bielan. More than 210,000 people tune into Towards Understanding each week, and with just one sponsorship, you'll reach this immense engaged audience. Find out more about this exciting and unique opportunity now on the sponsorship page at positivemedia.com.au.
Is there one story that you sort of tell when someone says, hey, can you give us an example of one person's life that especially just jumps out to you?
Oh, golly, one. We've got so many. We've got stories of where they've had riots in detention centres, and the kids in the music class won't riot because they don't want to miss the music. We've had another kid who's got Asperger's. They cannot cope with so much at school, and he's actually just been accepted into a major choir, national choir, because music is he's absolutely fabulous with music.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's given him a completely new slant on life,
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's so good to hear those stories, indeed. One question I want to ask is that, your whole family's very much in the entertainment area. Your daughter, Danielle Spencer, does a whole lot of music herself, of course. Son-in-law, Russell Crowe, obviously in the entertainment industry, not in the music as much, although he does do a bit of that.
He loves his music.
Yeah, he does love that, but of course, perhaps most famous for the movies too.
Oh, of course.
How do you cope with, I suppose, the entertainment industry buzz? There might be a lot of people around you wanting to sort of hang off onto the family and that sort of thing. Can you be a normal family when you just get together, or is there always that sort of feel that maybe there's somebody, out there with a camera or something like that?
Well, we've had a lot of that, but we've got our ways. We have a very, very normal, low-key family way. We ignore it. We've certainly been ambushed a few times at various places, but we've all got the same attitude that we just ignore it. We do our own thing, and we've got lots of places we go that are just private, and it's just no different than any other family. Yeah. We just do the same thing. Come Christmas, we're all together. We do the same things. It's just beautiful, and we ignore that because that celebrity thing is just, it's just silly. Everybody's just people,
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, to be honest, the fact that you're all sort of in the entertainment industry in different ways, I'm assuming you can actually help each other out with any issues, or at least your conversations, you actually can understand, and you're in the same sort of headspace.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And we also know that we don't, believe what you read in some of these magazines. We just... So, no, we can help each other in that respect, and it's like not something we ever just have to talk about because it's just what we do. It wouldn't be any different. So, and we never take it home with us. It's just one of those things.
Oh, that's fantastic. Look, not taking work home is a struggle, I think, for a lot of people. So if you guys have got that down pat, that's
great. We do a lot of music because we always have musical evenings, and because everybody plays something or sings something, but it isn't in any way like a professional thing. It's just like any other family that might strum a guitar.
Having a bit of a jam.
We have a jam,
yeah. Fantastic stuff. Hey, back in 2007 on Australia Day, you were honoured with the Medal of the Order of Australia. How special was that for you?
Oh, that was a thrill, I have to say. I was very, very thrilled. Was it surprised?
I was about to say, did it come as a surprise, or had you been told sort of well ahead of time?
No, it came as a big surprise. Oh, look, I'd been told a week or so before, but you had to keep it a secret. But the surprise was the same. It was astonishing. I thought, like I said to my brother, and I said, wow, it's quite nice coming from our little town, wondering if we'd ever make anything work. So very nice to be receiving that. It was lovely.
You've called one of your new DVDs Feathers, Furs and Fins, which they've got no chance. If they've lost a couple of teeth, they couldn't possibly say it, could they, Don?
Including my grandson. He's lost his front teeth. He can't say it. Feathers, fur or fins. But, when they nail it, they love it.
Oh, that's
nice to test them, you see. And then I do like writing songs that extends children. I don't write a lot of songs about, touch your nose and touch your head and bounce around. There are songs that have got actual information in them, but hopefully people enjoy the fact that we've got lots of different styles of music, but they're all for kids, and they're hopefully fun for people. And they've revived Bob the Kelpie and Penguin Strut and all those songs, so bit of fun.
Fantastic stuff. Look, I think the research is if a kid can get something into a song and remember it, they're going to retain it 95% of the time, versus if someone says it to them, it's like 5% or something quite ridiculous like that. So obviously, if we can teach kids through songs, there's so much value for all of society, not just for the parents as well. Yeah,
definitely. And the other, on that note alone, some years ago they decided to stop teaching the times tables by rote and all that stuff in schools, thinking it wasn't that necessary. I then recorded the timetables to music.
Yeah.
It just sold zillions. I mean, it's, I don't know, double platinum or something.
Remarkable.
I couldn't tell you how many people walk up to me and say, hey, thank you for teaching my time. I think they're going to say, oh, I like Bob the Kelpie, or I don't like you or something. But it's amazing how many people have said, oh, thank you for teaching. All my kids have learned the times tables. They just go to bed listening to it, and they know them in no time.
Isn't that great?
It's so simple because it's a great way to learn things. And as I said, it helps numeracy and literacy, and that's a good example of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to have something for you that's not just a job, it's not just about, I go there and that's what earns me my living, but to actually be able to pour into kids in terms of helping them learn and teach it must be really fulfilling stuff.
Well,
indeed.
it's incredibly lucky position. Somebody said to me once or twice, do you ever think you might retire? And I said, I can't actually retire because I've never really had a job. Because if you do what you really love, like writing songs, it's not exactly like you have a job, is it? It's quite a nice way to go.
Absolutely.
So,
Don, I was just going to say we've taken up so much of your time already. Thank you so much for having a chat to us today. Just a fascinating going through your life and your musical journey especially. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure, Clayton, and thanks for giving me your time, and all the best to your listeners. Thank you.
My guest on Towards Understanding today, Don Spencer, a long-time legend of Play School. It's wonderful to have a chat to Jeff Brayley, social researcher at station sponsor McCrindle. They bring data to life, and you do that for leaders in business, in organisations, churches, community groups. Jeff, what is the data that leaders should be looking at as they look into the future?
Leaders should be using multifactorial data. It's all about variety and lots of different data sets. We want to help leaders become really powerful at impacting and shaping a positive future. And so futuristic thinking is what we want to encourage people towards. You also need to be thinking generationally, understanding how society is changing, and also be practical, not just theoretical. Leaders should have a vision for the future and a plan for today.
Now, generations are working side by side so much more. Do you have any data around that?
Absolutely. A whole report, and there's a great infographic on the generations at work right now. 4 generations in Australia, from Gen Zs aged 16 to 30, who are motivated and looking for accessible and approachable leadership, all the way up to baby boomers that are looking for proximity when looking for new work. They want something close to home. And so we've got a great infographic there available for leaders to engage and motivate their teams effectively.
Jeff, I've seen this treasure trove. It really is. You're giving full access for 7 days. So how can people actually get access to this?
You can get the 50-plus infographics, 40-plus reports, courses, all on McCrindle.com. Search McCrindle Plus and you'll find that 7-day free trial. And we hope it empowers a positive future for all of society.
Jeff, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Station sponsor McCrindle, and you can get all that at McCrindle.com.